Have you ever been sitting in a waiting room or standing in line at the store, and there's someone right next to you? You're not sure whether to say hello or just stare at the floor? Maybe you think, they don't want to talk to me, or what would I even say? So you stay quiet. You smile politely, maybe nod, and then silence. Now I get it. After 70, we've had our fair share of conversations. We've been through meetings, family gatherings, appointments, noisy holiday dinners. Sometimes the last thing we want is small talk. But here's the thing. Talking to strangers, yes, even short, passing conversations, can add real joy, connection, and purpose to your life. It's not about deep friendships or telling your life story to everyone you meet. It's about tiny moments of human warmth. Those little sparks that remind you, I still matter. I'm still seen, and you don't have to be the chatty type. You don't need to have topics ready. What matters is being open, because believe it or not, talking to strangers is one of the easiest ways to feel alive again. In this video, we're going to explore 7 beautiful, sometimes surprising benefits of talking to strangers, especially after 70. Whether you're retired, living alone, or just feeling like your world has gotten smaller, this one habit might just be the key to making it feel bigger again. Let's begin with something simple but powerful: connection. You see, many seniors say they feel invisible, and I don't think that's an exaggeration. When we're younger, people are always talking to us, our kids, coworkers, friends, even strangers on the street. But after 70, especially if you're retired or your kids have moved away, those little interactions start to vanish. Suddenly days go by, and no one really says anything to you beyond paper or plastic at the grocery store. That silence can start to feel like isolation, and isolation over time becomes loneliness. But just a brief, "How's your day going?" to the person behind you in line, or a smile and "I like your hat" to the man sitting near you on a bench, it's enough to open a door. Not necessarily to a deep connection, but to a moment. A moment that reminds both of you that you're still part of this world, that someone sees you, hears you, and is glad you're here. And here's something fascinating. Researchers have studied this. They found that people, even introverts, feel happier after talking to a stranger than when they keep to themselves. Just one friendly conversation boosts mood and lowers stress. Why? Because we are wired for connection. It's in our nature. Even small exchanges trigger those feel-good chemicals in the brain. A chat with the barista, a wave to the mail carrier, a compliment to a neighbor walking by. These moments fill your tank, little by little. But there's another benefit. One we often overlook. Talking to strangers keeps your mind young. Seriously. When you talk to someone new, your brain lights up. You're listening closely, thinking on your feet, recalling words you don't use every day. It's like a mini workout for your mind. And the best part? It doesn't feel like exercise, it feels like life. You might talk to someone with a completely different perspective. Maybe they're younger, maybe they come from a different background, and that's good. It challenges your thinking, it keeps you curious, and curiosity is the opposite of decline. Another gift that comes from talking to strangers, especially as we get older, is that it often makes us feel helpful again. And I mean that in the most genuine human way. Think about it. How many times in your life have you helped someone just by offering a listening ear, a bit of encouragement, or even a story from your own experience? After 70, many people quietly wrestle with this feeling that they're no longer needed. Kids are grown, careers are behind them, and the daily structure of being needed, being useful starts to fade. But a stranger at the bus stop who looks unsure about which direction to take? A young person waiting at the pharmacy, clearly nervous? A fellow senior who's feeling just as invisible as you? One kind sentence, one short chat, you might make their entire day. And suddenly, yours feels different too. You see, every conversation has the potential to be a gift, not just for the other person, but for you. Being kind, even in passing, reinforces a deep truth. You still have something to offer. You're not invisible. You are wisdom, wrapped in wrinkles. and the world needs that more than ever. And here's the twist. Talking to strangers can actually protect your health. No, seriously. Studies show that people who engage in regular social interactions, even small ones with people they don't know well, have stronger immune systems, better heart, health, and even lower rates of cognitive decline. Isn't that incredible? It's like nature designed us to thrive when we connect, even if just for a moment. It doesn't have to be deep. It just has to be real. And let's not forget one of the most delightful benefits of all: surprises. When you talk to someone you've never met, you never know what you're going to hear. Maybe it's a funny story about their dog. Maybe it's a recipe from their hometown. Maybe it's just a shared complaint about the long line or the weather, and you both laugh because sometimes laughter is all we need to feel a little lighter. These moments, small as they are, make life feel fresh again, unexpected, full of potential. And isn't that something worth having no matter your age? You may be thinking, but what if they don't want to talk? That's okay, you're not forcing anything. A warm smile, a gentle comment. That's all it takes to open the door. If they don't step through it, no harm done. But more often than not, you'll be surprised how people respond, because they need connection just as much as you do, even if they don't realize it until it happens. And if you're worried about safety or boundaries, that's completely valid. You don't have to share personal details or get into anything uncomfortable. Keep it light, polite, friendly. A compliment, a question, a simple "how are you?" can do wonders. The truth is, there's no age limit on making new connections. Some of the most heartwarming, funny, and meaningful interactions you'll ever have might still be ahead of you, and they may start with someone you've never met before. Something unexpected happens when we speak to someone new. We begin to see the world through fresh eyes again. It's easy to fall into routines after a certain age, especially if you live alone or don't go out much. The days can blend together. Same chair, same shows, same conversations, if any. But then, one interaction with a stranger, just one, can break the pattern wide open. Let's say you're in line at the grocery store and you casually ask someone about the flower bouquet they're holding. They tell you it's for their neighbor's birthday, someone who's been sick. Suddenly you're reminded of kindness, of community. You leave the store thinking, maybe I'll bring flowers to my neighbor too. That ripple effect, it's real. Talking to strangers opens the windows of your mind. It lets new air in. And at any age, that's a gift. Now let's talk about confidence, because this is a big one. Many people over 70 begin to doubt themselves, not because they aren't capable, but because society has this ridiculous habit of acting like older folks should just sit quietly and fade into the background. But that's nonsense. And every time you start a little conversation, whether it's with the barista, a delivery driver, or the woman beside you on a park bench, you're reminding yourself, I still belong here. Talking to strangers boosts self-confidence in a gentle, empowering way. There's no pressure. It's not a speech or a debate. Just a few friendly words. And the more you do it, the more you realize your voice still matters. Your smile still brightens someone's day. Your presence still counts. It's like exercise for your spirit. And just like walking keeps your legs strong, chatting with someone new keeps your sense of self strong too. And here's something else. Talking to strangers keeps your mind sharp. Think about it. When you talk to someone new, your brain has to wake up a bit. You're listening, observing, responding, maybe even learning something new. It's a mental workout disguised as a pleasant chat. And research backs it up. Seniors who stay socially active tend to have better memory, faster thinking, and a reduced risk of cognitive decline. It doesn't need to be deep conversation every time. Even exchanging a few words about the weather or the price of bananas gets your brain moving, and that movement adds up. But perhaps the most beautiful benefit is this. Talking to strangers reminds you that the world is still full of possibilities. That even after 70, not everything is already decided. You might meet a new friend, or hear a story that changes your outlook, or simply laugh in a way you haven't in weeks. And that laughter, that lightness, it's worth everything. We spend so much of life trying to plan and protect ourselves, especially as we get older. But sometimes all we need is a little openness, a moment of connection, a tiny break from our bubble. And who knows? Maybe someone out there is waiting for someone, just like you, to say hello first. And speaking of someone waiting for you to say hello first, let's not forget the deep truth behind that idea. You're not the only one who feels lonely sometimes. There are people all around you, maybe even sitting just a few feet away on a park bench or walking past you in the cereal aisle, who are longing for connection too. We all carry invisible stories, quiet griefs, gentle hopes, and sometimes the smallest word from a stranger can soften that weight more than anything else. You don't need to fix someone's life or offer a grand gesture. You just need to be present, curious, human. And when you give that to someone else, you often receive something surprising in return. A sense of purpose, that spark that reminds you, I still make a difference. That's the fifth benefit of talking to strangers. It gives you purpose beyond yourself. Because when you start a conversation, you're creating a shared moment, a space where both people feel seen. And for many seniors, that's something the world doesn't offer enough of. People often stop asking for your opinion. They stop truly listening. But a stranger? They don't know your age, your past, or what your daily life looks like. They only know the present moment you create with them. And that moment can be healing for both of you. Now let's talk about spontaneity. After 70, life can start to feel a little too predictable. Routines become a comfort, yes, but they can also slowly drain the joy out of the day when they never change. Talking to strangers brings in that little element of surprise. It's a break in the expected, a tiny adventure. And who says adventures are just for the young? Maybe you learn something new about a culture you've never experienced, or hear about a book someone's reading, or laugh about something completely silly. These aren't earth-shattering moments, but they add color to your day. They keep your world a little wider, and that brings us to something incredibly powerful. Emotional resilience. You see, every conversation you initiate, even the ones that don't go perfectly, builds your inner strength. Every time you step outside your comfort zone, especially in a world that sometimes makes seniors feel invisible, you're reminding yourself, I'm still growing. And that mindset, that belief that growth doesn't stop at 70 or 80 or 90, is a fountain of energy all on its own. Because here's the truth that nobody tells you enough. You are allowed to evolve at any age. You're allowed to discover new parts of yourself. You're allowed to take up space, ask questions, start something new. And yes, even talk to people you've never met before. So the next time you're sitting on a bench or standing in line, or riding the elevator, and someone is near you, don't overthink it. Just say hello, ask a question, make a comment about the weather or the music playing or the food you're waiting for. It might feel small, but what you're really doing is saying yes to life, yes to connection, yes to growth, yes to joy. And perhaps one of the most beautiful gifts of talking to strangers, especially later in life, is that it keeps your story alive. Think about it for a moment. Every time you share a memory, a thought, or a piece of who you are with someone new, you're not just having a chat, you're passing something on. You're letting your life ripple outward into someone else's day. That ripple might be tiny, but it might also shift something in them. It might remind them of their grandmother, or make them think twice about judging someone by their age, or simply brighten their morning in a way they didn't expect. And that's the seventh benefit. It leaves a legacy in motion. Not the kind of legacy you write in your will, but the kind that moves through the world on ordinary afternoons, the kind that breathes through smiles and unexpected laughter, the kind that says, I was here and I mattered. Because you do matter, and not just to your family or your old friends, but to the people you haven't even met yet. The people at the coffee shop, at the library, on the walking trail, at the post office. You have stories to tell, energy to share, and comfort to offer. Even if it's just for a few minutes, those moments add up. They add up to a life that's still vibrant, still curious, still reaching outward instead of folding inward. Now, some days you might not feel like talking to anyone. That's okay, too. We all have quiet days. But when you feel that nudge, that little voice inside saying, maybe I could say something, listen to it. Let that moment be your invitation. You never know what doors it might open. One simple hello might turn into a smile, then a story, then a friendship. Or maybe it's just a kind moment that leaves you both feeling lighter. And isn't that what we all want as we get older? Not just to survive the years, but to live them, to feel useful, needed, connected. Talking to strangers might seem like a small act, but it's one of the most human things you can do. It's a quiet rebellion against isolation, a quiet reminder that your life is still unfolding, beautifully. So if you've been feeling stuck, invisible, or alone lately, start small. Next time you're out, look around. Someone is waiting for a smile. Someone is hoping to be seen. Someone is holding a story that might touch your own. Go ahead. Say something. The world is still listening. If this message touched you today, we'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Have you ever had a moment with a stranger that changed your day or even your life? And if this video brought you comfort or a new idea, consider giving it a like and subscribing to the channel. We're building a warm, uplifting space here, just for you. A space full of wisdom, encouragement, and community. You're not alone. You're not done growing, and you're more powerful than you think. Here's to living your best life at any age, and to the strangers who just might become part of your story.